You stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bam, bam, bam. Over.
And we're gonna put on a great show and a great performance. It will be a one-sided massacre, I promise you that. And I'm gonna punish him. He gonna wish he took his brother's advice not to take this fight.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Jarret Hurd, who has a pretty tough fight in May against Julian J. Rock Williams, he gave his take on Mikey Garcia's performance losing to Errol Spence, and he pretty much said almost everything that I said and thought of Mikey Garcia's performance. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip of what Jarret Hurd had to say, and then I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts.
You know, what it is, I don't think that, I thought Errol Spence was going to win the fight, but I don't think I underestimated Errol Spence. I think I thought too highly of Mikey. That's what it is, man. And you know, it's the weight classes wasn't an issue. People can't say that it was something with the weight classes because Earl went out there and displayed skills.
Okay, guys. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is because this is exactly what I thought going into this fight. Ever since this fight was signed, I kept telling you guys, I'm picking Errol Spence, but I believe this may be one of Errol Spence's toughest fights. And that obviously was credit towards Mikey Garcia. I overestimated him as well. I thought because Mikey Garcia, he seemed to have a very high boxing IQ. I was always impressed with his level of accuracy with his jab and his right hand in particular. So I just felt that he was going to be extremely accurate in this fight, but eventually Errol Spence would take over and walk him down and possibly stop him. That's not the way the fight played out. Errol Spence ended up completely shutting out Mikey Garcia. I mean, it happens every once in a while, but it's very rare that you see someone dominate another pound for pound undefeated champion the way Errol Spence dominated Mikey Garcia. Do you guys notice that almost every time a professional boxer or trainer does an interview and he's asked about this fight, Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia, the majority of them always say Errol Spence actually beat Mikey Garcia with skill, technique. He was the smarter fighter. So people can't say that he just beat him with size. Once again, this is the reason why you never really hear professional boxers and trainers using the same type of biased excuses that you guys will hear Mikey Garcia fans use. 95% of the time, you guys will hear them say the exact same things you guys hear me say on this channel, which is the whole truth. The most ironic thing is even Mikey Garcia is not using the excuses that Mikey Garcia fans are using for him. That's how you really know the excuses don't make any sense. Because boxing is one of the most prideful sports. These boxers, they are full of pride. And we've heard tons of fighters make excuses for why they lost. Manny Pacquiao makes an excuse about his shoulder. Kovalev makes an excuse when he loses to Andre Ward. And the list just goes on and on and on, right? But when it came to Mikey Garcia losing to Errol Spence, you guys go back and watch that post-fight press conference after the Errol Spence-Mikey Garcia fight. Listen to the way Mikey Garcia is talking. Mikey Garcia is breaking down everything that happened and why he could not get into the fight. He was praising Errol Spence's skills. He talked more about his technique, his ability to adjust, than he talked about Errol Spence's size over him. Notice, by way of contrast, when Canelo Alvarez, when he knocked out Amir Khan, all Amir Khan and his people talked about after the fight was how much bigger Canelo was the night of the fight. Amir Khan said he probably rehydrated to about 175 to 180 pounds. Miguel Cotto and Freddie Roach, they said the same things about Canelo Alvarez. They only talked about his size. They never mentioned his skill. They never mentioned his technique. They only talked about Canelo's massive size in the... Matter of fact, Amir Khan, he said because of Canelo Alvarez's size, he said he was hitting Canelo with shots and Canelo was just walking right through him as if none of his shots ever fazed Canelo. So that tells you the whole truth right there. You know, I told you guys in one of my last videos that Canelo Alvarez, once again, the difference from a bigger guy beating a smaller guy Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan would be a perfect example of that. Because at the time that Amir Khan got knocked out by Canelo, a lot of people had Amir Khan winning the fight. Even though Canelo Alvarez, he started to get closer and closer to Amir Khan, clearly Canelo Alvarez was getting outboxed by Amir Khan. Errol Spence never got outboxed by Mikey Garcia from the opening bell. He never got outboxed. He was never frustrated. He was never down on the scorecards. I mean, I already told you guys that I believe Mikey Garcia can still beat some of the top welterweights. I believe he has a good chance against fighters like Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia. I'm not saying he beats all those guys. I'm just saying that he would have a good chance against them. And that further proves that the Errol Spence loss had nothing to do with size if he could beat other welterweights. I hear some of these Mikey Garcia fans reaching for straws, saying, oh man, he only beat him because Errol Spence had that reach advantage over him. Did you guys already forget that Mikey Garcia had just beat Robert Easter right before the Errol Spence fight? A guy that's taller than Errol Spence and has a longer reach than Errol? And on top of that, Robert Easter was actually trying to use his height and reach. He just didn't know how to use the reach and height the way Errol Spence did. And that's what I told you guys. I told you guys going into the Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence fight that despite Errol being shorter than Robert Easter, I told you guys he will use his distance and his reach way better than Robert Easter did. And that's exactly what we've seen in this fight. But understand something, guys. If all you had to do was be taller and longer than all of your opponents, then all of the best pound-for-pound fighters would be the tallest and the longest in the division, right? But that's not the case. People forget Mike Tyson, he was often 5 to 6 inches shorter than all of his opponents. Didn't have the longest arms. He knew how to get on the inside and close the gap. Mike Tyson, he turned what looked like a disadvantage to his advantage. He was able to get real low, bob and weave under his opponent's shots and come out of that ocean with a surprise attack as if he's attacking a seal. I can give you guys another example. When Floyd Mayweather, his first title shot, and he was the underdog in that fight, against the lineal champion, Jarret Hernandez. He was pound for pound one of the best fighters at the time that Floyd fought him. Floyd only had 17 fights. He was 22 years old, going against a pound for pound champion. And Jarret Hernandez, he towered over Floyd Mayweather. Jarret Hernandez was about 6 foot tall to Floyd Mayweather. And unlike Diego Corrales, another 5'11", 6 foot tall fighter that Floyd Mayweather beat, the difference from Diego and Gennaro is Gennaro, he fought like a tall fighter. He used his reach and his height. He took advantage of having this long ass jab and Floyd Mayweather, he went out there and completely outboxed and knocked out Jarret Hernandez. So I could give you tons of more examples, but you guys pretty much get the point. So with that being said, I'm really curious to see where Mikey Garcia goes from here, because like I just said before, I believe he will do well against other welterweights. If he drops down to 140, even though right now Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor, they have opponents already, but once they beat their opponents, or if they are successful in their next fight, I could tell you right now, those would be some good opponents for Mikey Garcia, but those are probably the toughest opponents for Mikey, a Josh Taylor or a Regis Prograis. I really believe that fighters are really going to be studying Errol Spence's performance against Mikey Garcia. And then you have Lomachenko. Lomachenko at 135, that's still a great fight. That's still a 50-50 fight. It'll be really interesting to see what direction Mikey Garcia goes from here. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.